All right, Tankers, we have a big treat for you today. This woman, well, I will let her introduce herself in just a minute, but I'm sure you know her. I'm sure you know her name. If you haven't met her in person, there is her gorgeous face. And we have a treat today. She is amazing at hiring associates and keeping associates, and that is a question that comes up a lot. A lot on the page. Everybody has questions. They want to know how to hire and who to look for, and should I pay them more or less? Should they be bonus? There's always a million questions about this, but you've got the inside scoop, and I'm dying to know. So first, thank you for doing this and sharing.
You're welcome. I'm glad to be part of the official Tank video program.
Yeah, we're happy too. So tell the people who don't know you, tell them just a little bit about you, who you are, your practice, where you are, and then we'll go from there.
All right. Well, again, thanks for asking me to do this. I'm super excited to be able to help educate the other chiropractors. There's a huge problem out there right now with chiropractors eating their own young, and we need to stop that. Yeah. It is our obligation to get them trained to deliver chiropractic, and the only way we can do that is taking them under our wings. So can you still see me?
Yeah,
I'm just
totally.
popped up on my screen. Okay.
We gotcha.
My name is Dusty Dubois, and I practice in Bothell, Washington, which is just north of Seattle. And I've been a chiropractor for 19 years. I went to Palmer, the real Palmer, the one you don't have to say West or East or just Palmer.
Palmer West is the real.
Okay, whatever. It's just you have to say West, but okay. I went to the Royal Palmer, I ended up working for a Dr. Kaufman, who was my mentor in chiropractic. And so what I'm about to tell you, I wish I could take all the credit for, but it was always his plan. I just continue to implement it. Cool. So I was an associate for 10 years and making really good money, having a lot of freedom. And that's just how I thought it was supposed to be. I actually had no idea that associates struggled anywhere else, and why they didn't want to be associates, and why wouldn't you?
That's so interesting. It all depends on your first experience or your initial experience, right? That's just how you think it is. That's how you think it is out there. But as you well know now, that is not the case for a lot of associates. So it's really awesome you had that first experience and have chosen to keep it up. So you were an associate for 10 years, and then at some point it didn't work for you anymore, or you decided you wanted your own thing.
Too many chiefs. Too many chiefs.
Yeah, for sure.
So it was time for me to move on.
Yeah.
And so I moved on. It was sudden, but I moved on by myself, and quickly realized I needed help. I came from a large group practice. There was always at least at the shortest, the smallest we ever had was 4 doctors, but at times there was 7 where I was an associate. And so I was by myself and, just struggling. How do you do everything? How do you do rehab, and how do you take x-rays? And actually just somebody I went to school with stumbled in to my practice, saw my name outside and said, hey, are you looking to hire? I'm like, yeah, take your coat off. Let's get going.
Start now.
Pretty much that's how it started.
Yep.
So what questions do you have? Specific?
Yeah, I want to know, I think a lot of our doctors struggle also with, how do I know when it's the right time to hire an associate? What do I have to get to a certain level? Is it a certain business? Is it certain numbers? So how do you know, or how did you know, okay, I need somebody else, or I need some more help? What do you look at in your practice to determine that?
I wish you started with an easier question.
No, really? That's
like they do when you're, when you're in court. Like, you went to what school? How old are you? That's a really hard question. For me, it was just immediate. I hired an associate literally within months of me starting my own practice. I don't know how anybody's supposed to adjust all the patients, do the report of findings, who's going to do the rehab, what about your days off? So in my former practice, we were open 6 days a week, 8 to 6:30. Everybody could come. Everybody got the patients never had a barrier. They didn't have to worry oh, God, that chiropractor has that weird schedule. What day are they off? I'm not sure. A confused mind says no. So we never had confused minds. You just come Monday through Saturday.
Yep.
So I knew I needed to have that availability. And I don't have
How do,
the
how do you
answer. I
how do
don't
you
have,
how do you do it now? Like, do you just know I need to always have 3 or 4 docs on staff? Is there ever a point where you would say, oh, okay, we're let's say we're getting backed up in rehab, or people are waiting too long at the front, or like, do you have any of those things that you look at and evaluate to see, oh, that system isn't working, or there's a breakdown over here, maybe we need more support here? Are there any of those types of triggers that you have in your day-to-day systems that tell you that?
yes, it's pretty much, well, I built up. I currently have 4 associates,
Mm-hmm.
and I've had for about 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
and suddenly last year 3 of them left
Mm-hmm.
within 3 months. And so I quickly, yeah, they didn't, nobody, the other two didn't know the other two. Nobody knew anybody was leaving. So
Oh,
usually
wow.
you don't have that type of situation. But it quickly became extremely apparent that we couldn't even, myself going full time
Mm-hmm.
and the last doctor that was left, we could not service, 2 people could not service our clients for even 1 week. It was, we all we could do was adjust. We didn't have any capacity for new patients. We didn't have any capacity for progress exams, transitional exams. It was a hardship, and
Yep.
so I mean that was super obvious. I'm Yeah, I'm not like Jean. I don't have spreadsheets on, okay, when I hit this level, I'm going to hire
Right.
another associate. And so what happened in the early days, the one associate showed up. I said, start today, let's go. And then he got busy. And then I met another doc I'd worked with for a really long time. And what he wanted to come in and he wanted to work hard but have freedom. And it's really hard to do that in your own practice.
Yeah.
And we had already worked together. So he came on. He was there for 6 years. But and then I met another chiropractor, and I wasn't really ready to hire another one. But her personality was amazing. Her adjusting skills were great. And I knew she'd build her own practice. And then I met another one, and I loved her. And I was like, well, let's bring her in. She'll just build her own practice. So, and then we met a fourth one because everybody was growing,
Yeah.
and everybody else now needed the support of helping with progress exams, rehab, and stuff like that. So whenever we get to a level where people are feeling maxed out, I just hire another one.
Yeah.
Right now, my practice could be fine with 3 associates. I feel really comfortable that we have enough time for vacation relief, and we'd have enough time off for our bodies to recover and be refreshed. But then I met this beautiful gal right out of school. She's starting next Monday, and I was trying to find her an associateship somewhere else from a chiropractor that would treat her well and teach her what she needs to know. And then I thought I should just be that chiropractor to do that.
Oh, that's awesome.
So the point is, your associates eat their own. They're not an overhead. They're only going to be an overhead for about 2 or 3 months. That's it. So if you can float their base salary for 2 or 3 months, you're fine, because they're going to generate their revenue that keeps them employed.
That's
So
the question. That's the
there's
question.
no overhead with an associate.
Right. There shouldn't be, right? They should be producing enough to absolutely cover, and then plus some. But I think you bring up a really interesting point. I want to know, and I think a lot of people want to know, what is the purpose of an associate? I mean, for you personally, because I know you have a few things going on in your life outside of the office. But for you, what does an associate provide you? Because I think we get really hung up on, well, they don't deserve that much money right out of school. They bring no skills. Why would I pay them that much? And I've heard that comment quite a bit. And I always come back to, but what are you getting? What's the value that you're getting? And so for you, you must have found that there's massive value in what you're getting in return. So tell me, besides monetary, what is the return that you get on having associates?
Well, obviously, it's the freedom. I can be sick. My patients are taken care of. I can go on vacations. My patients are taken care of. I love the camaraderie. It is very, very, very lonely if you're by yourself.
Yes.
We have instant second, third, fourth opinions, just right away. Personality conflicts with patients, we just switch. I have the biggest personality conflicts. I don't know. No, but if somebody needs a softer, gentler personality, we just switch. And gosh, there was something else I was going to say. Obviously, there's massive monetary reasons why you want associates, but that's the non-tangible. We can be open 6 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
Our patients don't have any barrier to keep on schedule. That's right. I was going to say, some of us specialize in certain adjustments. We all have to be aligned in a similar philosophy. I can't have a Gonstead and a Toughness and a Blair and AK. No, like it's got to be, for all intents and purposes, diversified, a diversified practice. And everybody can have their little specialty. And I happen to be a specialist at ribs, and I'm just a master at the ear pull. I don't know. It's on my resume.
Great. So, I will know who to look up.
So the other docs will say, can you come pull this ear?
Yes.
Or I can't quite, get this.
Right.
And, I can just swoop over and take care of that really quickly. At a given point in time, we have 3 docs always, except Saturdays, always on staff.
Got it.
There's always 1 or 2 docs adjusting, and then 1 or 2 docs doing day ones, progress exams, transitional exams, x-rays. We used to have the associates do the rehab, but I hired a rehab specialist when we got down to 2 doctors, and I got her x-ray trained. So now we have a lot of overlap and back. Now I'm really overstaffed. So now my docs really have to grow if they want to keep that position. Totally. And so that's the intangibles.
How do you know when you're going to hire somebody? How do you figure out I want to know how you know who's right, but I think you kind of answered that a bit. Who is a good fit for you with technique and personality? But let's talk about the tangibles. Like, how do you know what to pay them? How do you know? Is it going rate? Do they bonus? How do you figure all that out? How have you done that? What is your secret sauce for that?
I just do the contract I grew up on. I didn't know that there was different options, right? You just do what you always done because you've always done it that way. And so I now have 2 contracts because I'm trying to keep up with the times.
Right.
And I know it's weird to be considered like I'm an old school chiropractor now. I don't feel like that, but and so I have 1 contract that's called the Rockstar contract. Mm-hmm. So it's for the people who want to go in and be a rock star and make a lot of money. My last 2 associates, respectively, made in their last years of practice with me. 1 made $300,000 and 1 made $200,000. I don't think that's bad dough at all.
Not at all. Considering the national average, that's not bad to be an associate. Yeah. Not a struggling associate at those numbers for sure.
Yeah. So that was the 6th year in practice and the 5th year in practice. So, but we track all these stats, and we are, when a chiropractor comes to me and I offer them 2 different options. Option 1 is the Rockstar contract. It is a base salary of $2,500, right? You can't live on it. That's the point.
That's the point.
That is the point. You cannot live on that. That is the point.
Yeah.
You can pay rent for a month or 2. You can maybe borrow money from your parents for a month or 2 till you start generating your own revenue, but you can't be comfortable on your base. Yep. And then I offer a higher base contract, which starts at $4,000 a month, but caps out the commission schedule at the max they can ever collect is 30 or 35%. Whereas on the Rockstar contract, the max they can collect is 60% at a certain level. So that's why when they grow, they just exponentially grow.
So you give them the base plus a percentage of what they collect on the people they see or the people they bring in? Like the patients of the practice or the people they bring in? So
this is going to go down another path now. So this is...
I'm just curious.
No, that's okay. This is something I really want to share because I think people do it very, very, very wrong. Okay. We do not step on dollars to pick up quarters in my clinic. We do not count the pennies. We don't count the patients. We're there. We're 100% there. So all the doctors are paid individually on their own practice. Okay.
On their own people that they bring in and start as patients. Got it.
Right. Yep. That's period.
Yep.
But we work as a team so that we all can have paid vacations, sick days. We can, the people with children can leave and go to their recitals, and we don't do any patient switching, swapping. Hey, I adjusted 20 of your people today.
Yeah.
You owe me this. So This is how it works in my office. you get your base. Let's say you pick the Rockstar contract,
Yep.
and your base is $2,500 no matter what you do. If you bring in $100 that month, you get paid $2,500. If you bring in 10,000, you get paid $2,500 because that's the base. Okay, so you can never go below that. And then the commission schedules grow from in increments in $5,000 increments. So it's 40% of the next 5,000, 50% of the next 5,000, and 60% of anything over to 20,000. So in exchange for that, they do my day ones after their, what do we call it? I used to say Everest train.
Masterclass. Goes for Cairo. Yep.
Now. So I'll have to do some reprogramming on that. Progress, they do all my progress exams, transitional exams, x-rays, the taking of them, the line drawings. They do the comparisons of them for my second, third, fourth, and fifth report of findings. They do the importing into my electronic medical records. They complete the files. They enter the diagnosis. They create the SOAP note template. They give biweekly talks at our Welcome to Wellness class. And they're responsible for getting all their own new patients the first year in practice. They're not allowed to be on the drop-in call-in list because that's the patient I generated with my marketing dollars.
Right.
And my closing percentage, my CVA is 11,000. My closing percentage is very high. And so if I spend money, I want to go ahead and close those patients into chiropractic. But since they're bringing in people that I wouldn't have reached anyway, they can go ahead and practice their skills and get up to speed on that. After the first year, they get on the rotation of the drop-in call-in list. So it could be PIs, it could be LNIs, it could be cash, a major med, whatever. So they're just in rotation. But they have to maintain a certain level, a certain quota, which is new, to stay on. It's a privilege, not a right. It's not written into the contract. Like, that's my marketing dollars, but you're do it if you're also continuing to grow your practice outside.
Absolutely. Yep.
And of course, they must be masterclass trained, period.
Of course.
And they pay their own malpractice. They pay their own CEs. I don't do any of that because, I've done so much building. I've bought property, I've built out suites, I have restaurants, and never once did I have to buy my contractor's tools. Like, he just comes with them. And he has his own license to be a contractor, and he keeps up his own insurance to be a contractor. Yeah. And I've never had to say, well, let me go ahead and pay you for that. No, you have to do that.
It's your profession. Yep, absolutely.
So I don't do that. What I do is I just offer a lot of money at the top end. Right. And I think I probably have the best contract in the industry because even my old employer doesn't do this contract anymore, which is probably why I left. But
you giving us a little hint here, okay?
That's part of it. Don't change the contract on me midway after I've proven myself.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it works. So once you're a patient, always your patient. If you're my patient, you come in and I'm treating you, and then let's say one of the new docs comes up to you and does some magical shoulder adjustment. And you love it. And you just bond with her because she's got kids and you've got kids and, she's got 5 minutes and I have 3.
Right.
That's fine. Then you can see that doctor forever and ever, but you will always forever be my patient.
Totally.
And I will be paid on it.
Yeah.
There is no patient stealing. If you steal a patient, you're just doing extra work and the primary doctor is still going to get paid.
Yeah.
Now, the benefit to that doctor to take really good care of you is all your friends and family will go to her. Right? So,
totally. Yeah.
No, she's not getting paid on you. She wants your sphere of influence. She wants to take care of your family. And so that's how we've made it fair. Because
that totally works. Totally works. I've been an associate as well and had a great example as well laid out. And I think once you have lived in it, you can see it and you can see how it can work. What are some mistakes that you see doctors doing when they're hiring associates or when they're in their mindset when they're thinking about associates? What are the biggest mistakes that you see other people doing?
I don't know that I'm that checked into what other people are doing.
You're too damn busy, I know.
I know.
Scuba, restaurant. I mean, what else? What else you got going on?
Well, I can do all that because I have associates.
I know. That's the beauty. I mean, that is the beauty right there.
So listen, I went on vacation for 3 weeks in Thailand, and for the first time, I had to have a fill-in doctor.
Yeah.
My first time in 19 years, and so an associate, brand new associate, is going to only cost me $2,500 or 4,000, depending on the
Right.
contract they're on. This guy cost me for 3 weeks 4,500. So if
Right.
I mean, and then yeah, I mean, he was great because he was super experienced. And my patients loved him, and it was the only choice I had at the time because my new docs weren't ready to start. But um, that's just a whole nother monetary thing. But I think I think they make the mistake of saying, "What can that associate do for me?"
Hmm.
Um, like, why aren't you doing something for that associate? I mean, we all had help. We all had a hand up from somebody, I'm assuming. Why isn't it equally beneficial that we get to teach and train them how to be a good, ethical chiropractor who can adjust, who can diagnose, and then go out and repeat? I mean, it only is going to help our profession. And so I do hear this, like, they're not worth it. They're not worth it. They're not worth it. Well, if you're
Yeah.
just looking at the monetary, you may be very well correct, unless you like to vacation like I do, and then your doctors, yeah, I mean they are worth it. Trust me, because they
Yeah.
eat what they kill. They're not an overhead at all, and if they can't if they can't bring that $10,000 in within the first 3 or 4 months, then they're probably not right for your practice, and then maybe they need to go into more of a exam doctor rehab mode or retraining, or just cut the chase. We do a 2-year contract, but any of us can get out in 30 days. So because I
Very
don't want
cool.
somebody there that doesn't want to be there.
No,
And
absolutely not. No, you want
so
to give both people an out, right? So
yeah, it's just like how what Dan and Barry always said. Why do we have to have contracts? If it's working for me, it's working for you. We'll stay
totally.
together. If
Now
it's not,
I know you're not advocating no contract.
no.
No. You're, have one, but make there be an equitable out for both people, right?
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. You
absolutely.
do have to have a contract. There has to
Yeah.
be clear guidelines. But if somebody doesn't want to work for me anymore, and I've never had it earlier than 2 years. So, but if they came to me in 9 months and said this isn't working for me, then I'd let them out. No problem.
This is great. I think everybody will get a lot from this. One last question for you. What do you credit your success with keeping associates long term? Like, what do you think it is? Do you think it's just the money? Do you think it's the environment you've created, the camaraderie? What do you credit? Because I have no associates that just bounce, like, oh, I was there for 6 months, I'm over here. Like, do you? I just want to know your take on that. What do you think is the secret sauce?
I know everybody asks me like, "What's your secret sauce?" I'm like, "Oh God, am I just open a prayer?" No, I don't know. I think I hire predominantly for personality first. I treat my associates with a lot of respect. As a
Hmm.
matter of fact, Dan and I had a conversation about, hey, how can we get more associates in the group? And
Hmm.
I said, well, first of all, stop trash talking them. Let's start with there, because I'm embarrassed. I don't want my associates in that group when people are talking shit about them and making it seem like they're less than
Yeah.
because of the choice they've made to have less responsibility and be more of a chiropractor. So I think that we are generally disrespectful to associates. As a matter of fact, I generally call them colleagues when I'm out and about. I'm like, this is my colleague or my partner, but I very rarely use the term associate. Not that it's demeaning, but they are my partner in this
Hmm.
endeavor.
Hmm.
And so that's number one. I
Yep.
think generally having respect for them. Number two, I'm not as much as I'm super intense, and people who've met me for 5 minutes know that I'm not much of a micromanager. Here's your here's your thing. Go to work and make shit happen, and I'll see if it's not. That's
Yeah.
I'm just because I'm too busy to be in other people's business.
Right.
So um, in
There it is.
the contract's great. It really is. And once,
Yeah.
they have to be there a few years to really start making the dough. And then they're working only 4 days a week and one Saturday for 2 hours a month. And, they're pulling in 200,000.
Yep.
That's hard to leave. That's going to take a long time in your own practice to ramp back up. And, they're the last ones to be paid in your own practice. And
Yeah.
they don't have any bills. They're paid 100% on revenue. There's no expenses at all taken out. I cover everything that is related to growing that practice, like screenings and dinners and business cards and marketing stuff. And
Everything.
I have a full-time marketing director too. So, that's just their income minus their taxes that everybody has to pay. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Do you have anything else you want to add about this topic in general? You've given us a ton. I just want to know if I've left anything out, or you specifically wanted to add anything in as parting words.
I think I honestly believe every single chiropractor coming out of chiropractic school should have to work with, a doctor for a couple years, number one. Yeah. And I think we have to step up and do that for these doctors. They're very misguided with the curriculum now in school and all the, these metapractors out there and wanting to be aligned with medicine and the same rules and guidelines. And we have to step in and we have to take over where their education left off. And I see a lot of scarcity thinking in the threads, like I can't afford and they're not worth, and like as opposed to abundance. Like these people, if you don't think they're going to bring in, let's say you're cool and you offer 4,000 unlike my 2,500. If you don't think they can bring in 4,000, so in order to bring in $4,000 to your practice in 1 month, they have to get 2 patients. In my practice, because my our left number is 3,600.
Yeah.
So our middle number is 2,880. So one patient's 2,880. So they have to bring in 2 patients if you're paying on the higher base. They have to bring in 1 patient to cover their income on my contract. Like if I can't get them to go meet and get one person in, I pretty much suck. So it's basic math. Gene, it's just basic math.
But here's the other thing that you said. You said, if I can't get them to bring in 1 patient, then I suck. And what I heard you saying there is that it's your responsibility too, right? To train them. Yeah. You've hired them. You need to train them up in a way that they can bring in people. I find, and I think one of the mistakes that people make too, is that they hire somebody to help them with overhead, right? They think, oh, I'm going to have them help me, rather than the perspective you take, which is, I'm going to take these doctors in because I want to train a new batch of chiropractors to be successful, to see what that looks like, and to have them be super successful. Yes, it works for you or the hiring doc. Of course it does. We wouldn't do it if it didn't. But you ultimately take more responsibility in growing them and developing them as doctors, which I think is a huge difference from what we're seeing out there in our profession. So
maybe we could just sum it up in train these doctors to have a practice within their practice, within your practice, their practice within your practice.
Yeah.
And one other note, never an independent contractor, never, ever, ever. You must maintain control. Yeah. And the law is very strict on this. Don't do it. It never ends well.
No. So. Agreed. Thank you so much. Thanks for spending your time with us and sharing not all of your secrets. I know you told me I'm not sharing all of my secrets. I'm just sharing my associate secrets. Okay then. All right. Well, thank you for sharing your associate secrets. And I know the tankers will really appreciate it. So thanks so much, Dusty. And we'll see you in Chicago in February. Right?
Ooh, about that.
Oh, we'll talk offline.
I think I'm going.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I might have to. Yeah.
All right.
Let me look.
We'll talk offline. See you soon.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.